Hello, my lovely peaches. I just got out of the shower, which is why I look like this and my hair looks wacky. And I just want to do a video on Camilla
and Charles, my American view.
My perspective about Camilla Parker Bowles, Queen,
and her husband, King Charles, on Camilla and Charles. So this video was inspired by Gen X Reference Desk, a new TikTok, new to me TikToker that I just found. I love her, and she did a video on Camilla, which inspired me to make this video.
And so that made me want to do a video. And I got to get dressed and get ready for my client call, Zoom, Google Meet, not Zoom. Well, I'm trying to get dressed. I'm looking for a pair of socks. I found my son's vest, but not socks. Water break. Drink your water. It's so important. So I'm getting ready for my day. When I start my videos, I like to give a little intro. This is what it's about. And then I take a bit of time to get to it. But that lets us settle in, and I'm learning to go back after the video's all done and put the timestamp for when I let's get into it part. Or just because it's fun. It's cool to have timestamp chapters in your video. All right, so it is Friday, March 22, 2024 at 11:11 a.m. when I'm filming this, and maybe I'll post it tonight, maybe not. Well, breaking news, breaking into my own video, there has been an update from Kate. Let's take a listen.
At 6, the Princess of Wales has just announced that she is undergoing treatment for cancer. Here now.
Grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stage. The wonderful messages of support
Has been released, in which she explains what has been happening in recent weeks.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover from major surgery in order to start my treatment, but most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them, and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer. For everyone facing this disease, in whatever form, please do not lose faith or hope. You are not alone.
The Princess of Wales with a very personal message.
Well, that was breaking news, and I'm in the middle of making this video, so it seemed like it would be appropriate to put that in there. Even though this video is about Camilla and Charles, I feel like it would be best to just talk about that. So I'm not going to make a whole nother video separately about it, but I will say, first and foremost, I hope that whatever illness that she has will truly be treated and healed and all is well. I will also say suspicious. So it's one of those things where if you say suspicious, because it's such a private thing, because it's a medical thing, because it's a health issue thing, because it's a family, and as she said, a young family, it really creates this vibe that it's like an untouchable subject. So I still find it all pretty odd and suspicious. And they wouldn't be the first people to say there's been a diagnosis to buy time, to garner sympathy, to get people to stop talking, to get people to stop questioning, to shut down the suspicions, to make people feel stupid, horrible, awful, and humiliating and ashamed, to question the narrative. So it's good to see that she looks the same. I mean, for all that she's been through, she's looking well, and I still find it extremely allegedly maybe sus, my opinion. But she's just bought herself an indefinite amount of time to heal out of the spotlight, and that is what she deserves and should have. And yeah, there's not much else to say about that, except that I hope that she really is okay, and whatever she is actually dealing with, that it will be better fast. And hopefully none of those other rumors are what's really going on. But again, like I said in yesterday's video, this is very likely smoke and mirrors to distract from the much more serious issues that we are not looking at. So that's the update on Kate. Wait, it just occurred to me. What? Why was Kate sitting by herself on a fucking bench when she's revealing to the world that she has cancer? And that's why she's been MIA? Why wasn't her husband sitting right next to her holding her hand? Why weren't they together? That is so weird. It didn't even occur to me until just now. Like, why wasn't he right by her side with his arm around her the whole time? What on earth? That is very weird. What the heck? So I haven't even finished the video yet, and I didn't post it yet, although if you're watching this now, obviously it's posted. But anyway, it's Sunday, March 24th at 12:44 a.m. And I figured since I'm doing another edit, I might as well just jump in to add. I have not watched any additional coverage on Kate's cancer announcement. I still feel that it's bizarre that she was sitting there by herself. I think that even though in her words she said Prince William has been there for her. His absence in that video was palpable. And her sitting alone just feels so off-putting. And again, I'm not going to accuse her of lying, but I am saying the narrative is weird. And if all it is there was an unexpected medical scare, they didn't know how to handle it personally, and so therefore they didn't know how to handle it publicly, and so they decided to do a whole bunch of weird stuff. Okay. Also, why didn't she mention her father-in-law and his cancer diagnosis? Not in a revealing way, not in a way to tell what his personal diagnosis is or his private medical data. Supposedly they both have cancer, but no mention of me and my father-in-law are simultaneously struggling from this. She mentions people in general, but she doesn't mention her father-in-law. I find it weird. It's all weird. It's all weird. To me, it's weird. And to a lot of people, it's probably not weird. And that's okay too. Of course, the obvious reality that getting an unexpected, shocking diagnosis is weird. And how you behave in that environment is also weird. But their entire world is built around positive PR, spinning things, hiding what they don't want to hide, putting out the perfect face. And as I'll point out later in the video, when I'm looking through Princess Diana's old photos, and there's a photo of Princess Diana with Prince William's arms around her neck, exactly like that faked Photoshop Mother's Day photo, which tells me they went back to the archives to try to recreate something. And if you look at those photos, they're obviously the photos from Princess Diana and Prince Charles's marriage. They're so obviously faked, meaning these motherfuckers been doing this shit for centuries. So why they didn't have a better way to handle this just seems weird. And I get it. It's under new management now. So new management is not going to do things the way they used to. And that's true. And they went to the hospital on the same exact day. And she's doing a video announcing it, but she's all by herself. She doesn't mention him, her father-in-law. She doesn't mention anything about what he's going through. She's not sitting with her husband. She's not sitting with any of her other family members. It just feels so weird. Just not the good vibes
Of a loving support system.
So I don't know what any of the other coverage has been about it or what anybody else's opinion is. I'm going to guess that most people are like, oh my God, I feel so awful. And how could I have even questioned it? And kind of like I said yesterday or the day before, that's what that kind of announcement would do. Make everybody who's questioning the validity and the authenticity and the truthfulness and questioning her whereabouts and questioning the photos and everything.
The narrative, the timeline, her whereabouts.
I feel like it works really well to shut people up and to get them to shut other people up as well. So with zero evidence, I don't really have an opinion other than the one that's not to just believe whatever is said. And even though that's what she said, do I believe it? I have reasonable doubt. I'll put it that way. I have a healthy dose of reasonable doubt. But again, does it matter? I don't know. As long as she's happy and well. Is she? I have no idea. So I just wanted to pop in and say that little extra bit. Wanted to add about Kate So it's Sunday afternoon and I had to make another edit before I go ahead and share the video. So I thought I will just go ahead and add a couple more quick thoughts about Kate. I did see that some people commented what I had thought, why is she by herself? That seems weird. And then I saw other people commenting back things like, this is her story to tell. It's her diagnosis. She's a strong, independent woman. She doesn't need him by her side. If he was there, he being Prince William, her husband, if William was there, then people would have complained. People would have said this, that, the other thing. Look at the body language. Look at this. So I get it. People are going to defend Kate. They're going to defend this announcement. They're going to defend her right to privacy. They're going to defend everything she said and every instance of this announcement. And I get that. Like I said, most people are not going to think it's weird for what the announcement is of cancer diagnosis. As I already stated, that is like a big sweeping, untouchable. Don't touch, don't discuss. And if you do discuss it and if you do question it, then you're basically opening yourself up for attack, questioning a cancer diagnosis. The last thing I will say about it in this video is what does concern me is that this announcement is the opening of a pathway, of a possibility of a very tragic outcome. And on one hand, that's the obvious possibility. When somebody says, I've got cancer, it sounds like I might die. So I'm just concerned for her mental health, her emotional health, her medical health, and also what other psychological possibilities and all the probabilities that this opens up. That's what concerns me. Funny, you'd think that as an American, I would be all about the independent, strong woman, she doesn't need him kind of thing. But I don't agree with that. I feel like a very serious diagnosis, a very serious announcement, the optics of a strong support system is really important. And the fact that that strong support system is missing leaves a big void and a gap and a question mark. And I understand that there's a mentality that exists out there like the how dare you or mind your own business or, all kinds of negative onslaught from people who think, how dare you question. This diagnosis opens up more questions and a lot more scary possibilities is my thing. So all the best to Kate and on with the video. I'm not planning on making any more videos about her or even any more videos about the royal family per se, but like this video was an unplanned video, I won't say never say never, because I don't know what video I'll be inspired to make next time. Just like if a week ago you'd asked me, would I be making a video, an hour and a half long video about King Charles and Queen Camilla, I would have said no. And yet here we are. This is one of those videos that I actually had no pre-planning. I got inspired because of Gen X Reference Desk's video, which I then commented on, and then that inspired me to make this video, especially because if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I am looking for any hair in my sock to remove it through this process. Okay, so thoughts on Camilla. So Gen X Reference Desk on TikTok, she did a video talking about, we don't like a cheater. Camilla was a cheater. We don't like a cheater. She's a Gen X American and she's anti-Camilla. Now, I'm not pro Camilla because, you know, like I said in yesterday's video, or if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. And if you haven't seen that video, which is the state of Kate, my American view, I mentioned that I feel like the whole family is toxic. A bunch of narcissists, and probably there's like the narcissists, there's the flying monkeys, there's the dependents, the codependents. It's all a bunch of unhealthy people. And that's my opinion. Speculation warning, rumors, drama for entertainment purposes only. I have some information and some facts, but this is not education in the royal history. This is an American opinion, Gen X American opinion, my perspective. And I'm gonna also wear my cotton candy baby pink hoodie. But let's see. So it's 11:17. Weird hair, don't care. All right, so I am not pro monarchy. If they were to disassemble, I think that would be for the best. I think that they should be like celebrity status. Like they exist. And when I say disassemble, I mean like they shouldn't be able to have all those castles and all that land and all those stolen resources and riches and treasures that really is just not theirs. It's like time to give shit back. You can be rich, you can keep a castle, and then the rest of the castles should become some type of like public, I don't know. I'm not even gonna pretend to even know how to fix a thing. I just know I'm not into a hierarchical society where some people are better than others. That ain't it. Not for me. It's Friday. So I was upset with myself that I didn't do what, I can show you what I'm using. Lush. Actually, my niece had wanted something from here for her birthday. This is like $25. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, so as you see, I am not the get ready with me. I have very rarely done this. Okay. Anyway, yes, I am going to talk about Camilla and all that stuff. Okay, I just want to like get ready for my meeting. So I am not, the only kind of arranged marriage that I think are okay are the type where both people are like, let's do this, you know. We know that this is what it is for whatever their reasons are. I don't care. I'm not here to judge, okay? But when there's an arranged marriage where the parents force their children to marry somebody they don't want to marry because that's what they are expected to do, I find that super problematic. I actually dated a guy who, he was Brahmin, Gujarati, Hindi, and his parents were so pissed that we were together, and then we broke up because he was a fucking asshole. He was raised to think he was a king, and he didn't have to do anything, and at the same time, him and the dad treated the mother like she was fucking invisible, an invisible slave. I was like, I'm out, motherfucker. You're an asshole. You big-headed, short, stupid, weird, ugly motherfucker. Okay, that's the guy that the awful, awful guy that I went with instead of the guy I was actually in love with. But yeah, you can find out more about that if you're interested on my Patreon videos. But anyway, so yeah, oh, anyway, I was saying that ex, stupid dumb fuck ex, he ended up marrying somebody that his parents picked. So after we broke up, I guess he fucked around and found out, and then he was like, I'm a loser. Okay, set me up. I'm a loser, baby. That's why I don't love you. So, yeah, they're now divorced, and she fucking moved away with the kid because she's like, you're a fucking asshole. And it was horrible. And we're no longer friends, but the friend that I met, the guy that used to be his best friend, told me, you know, a while later, he was so horrible and mean to her. He was so abusive and stuff. And I'm like, oh, big surprise. I guess he's the same asshole he was before. It didn't matter that she was the right one. You know, he was an asshole. So anyway, my thoughts about Charles and Camilla. Oh, that's a ripped paint up there. This apartment is really kind of I need an upgrade. I need an upgrade. Upgrade my life. She's gotta be done. He's gotta be tall. And he's gotta be that. And he's gotta be something for life. I need an upgrade. Now I've gotta get my light so that my Google Meet meeting, I'll have some light. So, what I do know is that Charles had fallen in love with Camilla back in like
1970.
before he even knew Diana. Him and Camilla had a thing. She also had a thing, and she had a thing with, oh, her name was Camilla Shand, I think, S-H-A-N-D, or Shand, or something like that. Okay, so she had her first, I don't know about first, but the guy she was with before Charles was Andrew Parker Bowles. And I guess they were on again, off again. And then she was with Charles. My blankets. I've got a blanket, my it's fine day today typo blanket. And a sheet and a heated blanket. And my meeting is in half an hour. I got my coffee. I got my butt in. It's like that cool lady who does fashion stuff. She always, every single time she says the word butt, she slaps her butt. She's like German. She's funny. Anyway, okay, so I've got to rearrange my pillows. Ugh. All right, so talk for a few minutes, and then I'm going to get on to my meeting. We have to get onto getting my notes together. Right, so I had wanted to talk about on Camilla, before, during, after, still. Queen or nah? Queen or nah? Would be queen, be queen, bean, bin, queen. The would-be queen, bin, the bin. The would-be queen, bin queen. Okay? So I will show the screen recording of the little clip of Gen X Reference Desk's video. Let me move this like this a little so there's some, or actually should I go like this so there's more room over here. So the one person commented, don't you dare, how dare you call Diana the mistress? Oh, because that's what I said. All right, I moved over here. The lighting is off, and obviously the ring light is here, but I'm going to pop up the little video recording, and I'm going to read what I wrote. So I wrote to her, Gen X Reference Desk, saying that basically she's anti-Camilla. And I'm probably anti-Camilla, like, as a person. I don't like what she stands for. I don't like the monarchy. I don't like any of that stuff. But as far as just like from a human perspective, looking at Charles as a man who was born into a family without his own choosing, and then being expected and demanded to live a life that he didn't want to, and to marry somebody, have babies and a family, and live his whole life and be the husband and wife of someone he didn't even want to. That's a big ask. That's a really, really big ask. And true love is rare, I think. I mean, maybe it's not that rare, but it is rare. I think it's rare. And the fact that, that's what I said, he has been with her before, during, after, and still. And people still want a fucking bitch. So this is what I said.
All right, we need to talk about the Camilla in the room. Let's do it. Stick around. We're talking about Camilla Parker Bowles. Hi, welcome to the Gen X Reference Desk. We've been talking a lot about British the royal family and what's been going on, and particularly the royal family of the 20th century. And you can't talk about the royal family of the 20th century and not talk about Camilla Parker Bowles. All right, I will be very upfront about Camilla Parker Bowles. As someone who grew up with Princess Diana and lived through their whole marriage, into their divorce, into Diana's death, I cannot support Camilla Parker Bowles. I'm also American. I think part of being an American is that I am very much like a traditionalist. I don't like it, men having mistresses and women cheating, with someone else.
I'm Gen X American. My take, Diana was the mistress. Charles was in love with Camilla before he was forced to marry Diana. Who was the other woman? Diana was the other woman all the time that he was forced to be with her. And another thing, since Charles decided that that's his queen, shouldn't people accept that? I'm no Camilla fan, but forced marriage ain't it. Even if we love Diana, which I do love Diana, but still, she should never have married Charles. She should have never been in that role. Okay, then somebody says, D80s gal writes, Diana was never the mistress. How dare you? So I said, LOL, did you read what I wrote? Reading comprehension is your friend. And then 3 laughing, crying faces. I did read it. I still don't like Diana called the mistress. Okay, right. I said, LOL, not shocking. Of course, nobody's going to like that. But the fact that he was in love with her first, during, after, and still. So yeah, he was married to Diana, but obviously always in love with Camilla. And then the 80s gal says, oh, I totally agree with you on that. My issue with him and Camilla, pause, because I've mentioned before, anytime people use those type of insults, well, insults in general, cringe, but like libtard, and, I don't know, I just find it cringe, and it's like,
Instantly diminishes your intelligence level, in my opinion.
You sound like a mob mentality when you use those mob mentality words. That's just my opinion. But anyway, okay. So like immediate cringe for me. But okay, him and Camilla is that they still kept their relationship going after he had to marry Diana. I don't care if he was still in love with the cow. Like, okay, I don't respect that opinion because you're just belittling somebody, and that's not, to me, that's not an effective strategy. Then somebody else laughs. But you don't do that no matter what. This is the 80s girl. You don't do that no matter what. He was the future king, and that was his chosen life by his mom. So I say, LOL, well, maybe he didn't want to live a life chosen by his mom. Most of us don't. Then it's Miss says, yep, it was an arranged marriage, and she was a freaking hot mess since day one. And then I wrote, lastly, obviously, they were super compatible and well-suited and meant for each other 50 years later, still together. So about time they got to get married and be legitimate. That's my opinion. So now I got to get my head out of the royal arse and start to focus on my own life and my own clients. But after that, I'll come back and actually, yes, I have to go for a walk because I need to do something, and then I can do a little more thoughts on my walk, and then I'll wrap it all up and that'll be the video. Okay. All right, I'm done with my call. I've got some couple things I want to get from the store. I actually need to bring the garbage can back in, and it's so dang on cold. I got to put my coat on to do that. So I'm gonna get ready to go on that walk, go to the store, get a couple things, and chat a little bit more about my thoughts. Let's see. All right, I'm finally heading out. So I did a little quick preliminary investigation so I could have some idea what I'm talking about. And wow, what a doozy I found. There, you're in my sack, in my satchel. And you're my bag. My tote. It's so cute. I love it, look. I bought it on Amazon. I love the color. All right, we gotta go so I can get back in time to pack up the kids. Let's talk about this craziness. Let me get out. All right, I got out. So yesterday I said anathema or anathema.
Here's the definition of anathema: something or someone that one vehemently dislikes.
Anathema.
Vehemently. An adverb that means in a strong, emotional, or zealous manner. It is raining vehemently right now.
Vehemently.
I said it wrong. It's anathema, which is like a strong dislike or strong something you don't like. Ugh, there's a stinky truck. A big ass stinky truck idling is anathema to fresh air. It's actually freezing cold right now, and I'm glad I'm out now. I get what I need and get home. That truck is so loud, it's vehemently loud.
Vehemently rumbling down the street.
I saw somebody was correcting Alan Maston, like however she said it in her video, and then they wrote it out like, you're supposed to say it like such and such, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. And so when I said anathema wrong, I thought, well, let me look it up and see how it's pronounced. And anathema is when you vehemently dislike something or it's vehemently opposed. So that's kind of funny, and that's why I put that there. But holy cow, what a story. So, when did Prince Charles meet Camilla Parker Bowles? Well, actually, she was Camilla Charles when they actually met.
What year did Prince Charles meet Camilla Parker Bowles?
1970. According to Town & Country magazine, 1970, Charles and Camilla meet for the first time at a polo match at Windsor Great Park, a royal park. They discover that they both love polo and the outdoors and have the same sense of humor.
They were 1 year apart and perfectly suited, and it's a damn shame they were not allowed to be together. And when was Princess Diana born?
Princess Diana was born on July 1st, 1961.
So she was only 9 years old at the time. Did Camilla and Charles meet before the polo match?
According to Harper's Bazaar, reports about the couple's first meeting vary slightly, but it is believed that Prince Charles met Camilla Shand at a polo match in Windsor Great Park in 1970, for the BBC. Though, People cites that the pair met at a party years later, in 1972.
So Princess Diana was a literal child in elementary school while he's falling in love with Camilla. Was Camilla already married when she met Charles? I thought maybe that was the reason. Nope, that was not it.
According to ABC 7 New York, he met Camilla in 1970, Jennings said. They were dating when they were single, and because they were intimate, she was no longer eligible to be queen. And that was that. Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles in 1973.
Patriarchal bullshit. Except actually that wasn't that, now was it? Because they actually never quit each other. And isn't that a fucked up thing? Because they were together, she is no longer considered eligible to be the queen. So they got together. She was not considered worthy or good enough. Their families schemed to keep them apart.
Okay, so they meet in 1970, which is, you'll see in a minute, 7 whole years before he ever even met Princess Diana, or Diana Spencer. Some people report that they met in 1972, which I would guess is they've met again. So this is the part that's so fucked up to me, so utterly disgusting, despicable. He meets her in 1970. They have a thing. They have sex, apparently. And so because of the fact that they had sex, that meant she was no longer eligible. Basically, no, you're used. You had sex with him? Well, he can't marry you now. What? That is the most fucking unbelievable shit I've ever heard. I mean, I've heard unbelievable stuff. I've heard people being forced to marry. They are pissed and all kinds of awful things. Okay, but what utter absolute bullshit. Well, you're not allowed to marry her because she already went ahead and fucked you, so she ain't eligible. That's unbelievable. So they also didn't think she was aristocratic enough. She wasn't good enough, and the fact that she gave it up to him, nope, you can't have her. You can't marry her, but because you already had her. You had her, so you can have her. You've been done fucked her, so she's spoiled. She's ruined. Fucked up. People are so ignorant. Ignorant. I had to put my hat on. It is so cold. I also kind of have to hurry because I have to get back and pack my kids because I did not prioritize it last night. But anyway, back to this drama. Decades old drama. Okay, so 1970 was 54 years ago. Prince Charles was 22 years old. Camilla Shand was 23. Basically the same age. Just over a year apart, 16 months. Whereas Princess Diana is 13 years younger than him. Princess Diana is 13 years, over a decade younger than the man she was arranged to marry. So also she was a teenager. So the fantasy dreams of a teenager
Lots of teenagers fantasize about marrying a prince. That doesn't mean it's going to be a happy ever after by any means.
Now I'm cutting it a little close time-wise to get home before my kids get home after school, and I haven't even packed them up yet. I'm walking down the street listening to details.
How young was Princess Diana when she met Prince Charles?
16. According to Wikipedia, personal life, Diana first met Charles, Prince of Wales, the Queen's eldest son and heir apparent, when she was 16 in November 1977. He was then 29 and dating her older sister, Sarah. Charles and Diana were guests at a country weekend during the summer of 1980, and he took a serious interest in her as a potential bride.
More accurately, his mama and her mama and grandmama thought they should get married. How old was Princess Diana when she married Prince Charles?
20. According to Wikipedia, Diana became Princess of Wales aged 20 when she married Charles, then 32, on the 29th of July 1981. The wedding was held at St. Paul's Cathedral, which offered more seating than Westminster Abbey, a church that was generally used for royal weddings.
So Charles and Camilla meet. They're about the same age. They have a lot in common. They really like each other. They hit it off. They have a relationship. Then his mom is like, or the family, the parents, whatever, the firm. They're like, y'all, you already had her. She's spoiled. She's not marriage material. Plus, she's not aristocratic enough. So then they ship him off. They ship Charles off to the military in an attempt to break him and Camilla up. And then they force literally force Andrew's hand at marriage. The parents making an announcement in the paper that they were engaged without even asking. And that was a dead end, but they went ahead. So they marry her off and they ship Charles off, hoping to break them up. Then,
when did Prince Charles go to the military?
The 8th of March 1971. According to As USA, the British monarch began his military career the 8th of March 1971 with the Royal Air Force, RAF, training as a jet pilot at the RAF College Cranwell. He flew himself there, having gained his private pilot's license during his second year at Cambridge under instruction from the RAF at his own request.
So they want you to believe it's at his request, but actually Prince Charles is sent away to the military to get him away from Camilla. Did the royal family send him away? Did the royal family make the military send Charles away from Camilla? And the answer is essentially yes. That the two lovers had a passionate early relationship. However, the family felt that Camilla was unsuitable. She was too earthy. She'd had sex already, and the fact that it was with Charles was irrelevant. They wanted Charles to play the field, yet Camilla was considered unsuitable. Since she'd previously had sex with and a relationship with Andrew Parker Bowles, they forced him to marry her to get her out of the way. Just like a Jane Austen novel.
According to Town and Country magazine, according to Andrew's cousin John Bowes-Lyon, the families had conspired to force the groom-to-be's hand. Camilla was very much in love with him, Bowes-Lyon told Sally Bedell Smith. Her parents were very keen that Andrew should marry her.
So I don't believe that she was very in love with Andrew. That is part of the lie. And this is it right here. She had a past, meaning she wasn't a virgin. And just like back in Jane Austen novels, well, because Andrew had fucked her, they were like, well, fuck it, you're going to have to marry her now. And this is a disgusting double standard of the patriarchal society that says, well, the man had sex, that's okay, he can find a better spouse, material person, but the woman had sex, so she's no longer marriageable. What a fucking crock of shit. And it seems believable that in this instance, they would not have forced Andrew to marry Camilla, except for the fact that they were basically being told to by the royal family, saying, you know what, we don't want Prince Charles marrying her, so you have to. Thanks.
After an on and off relationship for years, Parker Bowles and Shan's engagement was announced in the Times in 1973. Sally Bedell Smith claimed that the announcement was sent out by the pair's parents without their knowledge, which forced Parker Bowles to propose.
7 years later, Charles is introduced to a 16-year-old when he's 29 years old. So he's dated the sister, dated a bunch of other so-called eligibles, but no, and all the while he's still having an affair with a now married woman that he's still in love with, like I said, before, during, after, and still. Okay? Y'all up here want to hate on this man.
Did Camilla cheat on her husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, with Prince Charles? And of course the answer is yes, but just like I'm saying, Princess Diana was the other woman. Andrew was actually the other man. Because from this particular point of view that I'm talking about, not what the crown wanted, not what the firm wanted, not what the British people thought was the right thing to do, not the bride that the world wanted, not the princess the world wanted, but the woman that Prince Charles loved and the man that Camilla loved, which was each other. And I'm looking at it from an energy point of view, from the point of view that these two people were hooked up, connected. They felt it, they wanted it, but they had to fight against so much. And I find that commendable, despite the fact that they themselves may not be.
They're both forced to marry people that they don't love, forced to make kids and a life and a family with people they're not well suited to. And that's what I was saying. Princess Diana was a literal child. So she had, fantasy ideas of what marrying a prince would be. And interesting, her sister, Sarah,
Why didn't Prince Charles marry Sarah Spencer, who was Diana's sister?
According to Daily Mail, the 22-year-old Sarah said, "There is no chance of my marrying him. I'm not in love with him. And I wouldn't marry anyone I didn't love, whether he were the dustman or the King of England." It was in fact Lady Sarah who introduced Charles to her younger sister at Althorpe House, the Spencer family home.
So 1980s, she gets married to this Corkadale guy. They are still married to this day. And sad that she lost her sister in such a tragedy. But here's some photos of them from back in the day. What year was Prince Charles born?
Charles III was born on November 14, 1948.
So also, here, all of us, so the world celebrated Prince Charles marrying a girl who was just barely 20 years old when he was 32 years old. And they also turned a blind eye to Prince Andrew, who R-worded Virginia Guthrie. And she was 17 years old when he raped her 3 times. And that's no surprise that the family hasn't shunned him. What year did Prince Andrew R-word Virginia Guthrie?
According to the New York Times, Prince Andrew, the disgraced second son of Queen Elizabeth II, has settled a lawsuit brought by Virginia Giuffre, a woman who had accused him of raping her when she was a teenage victim of Andrew's friend, the notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, according to a new court filing in Manhattan on Tuesday.
So Prince Charles is arranged a marriage to marry a girl who is barely older than this woman when she's R''d by Prince's brother, Prince Andrew. And also, it's just another question, how many other victims besides Virginia did not speak out? When was Prince
Andrew was born on February 19, 1960.
So Andrew is 64 years old right now. He was 40 years old at the time when he met Virginia Giuffre, who was born in 1983. So in 2000, she was 17 years old and he was 40 years old, raping a minor. So there was a case she brought against him. And interesting how cameras stopped working when Jeffrey Epstein died, as well as when Princess Diana died. And I really wonder how many other victims have stayed silent because they didn't have the courage that Virginia Giuffre has. And there's an image of Andrew and Virginia with Ghislaine, the disgraced Maxwell. Ruth Sylvia Roche, Baroness Fermoy, good friend and confidant of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother and the maternal grandmother of Diana, Princess of Wales. She was one of the Queen Mother's ladies-in-waiting. She wanted Prince Charles to marry one of her granddaughters. And Sarah Spencer was Princess Diana's older sister.
According to Wikipedia, Ruth Sylvia Roche, Baroness Fermoy, was a friend and confidant of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and the maternal grandmother of Diana, Princess of Wales.
However, Sarah, Princess Diana's sister, older sister, would not marry Charles. Refusing to marry a man she doesn't love, then pawning that man off on her younger sister. But her sister had fantasies, and that was back then. So my American view is here was these two people. They were literally perfectly well suited, absolutely ideally matched. They look physically like the perfect match, the perfect couple. They have things in common. They love each other. They're committed to each other. Nothing and no one could break them apart. No amount of decades, no amount of public condemnation, no amount of people thinking, how could Charles love Camilla over Diana? Look at them. As if true love really is about your looks. As if true love is about how aristocratic or British your family is. And marriage is not always about love. But even having a successful partnership between two people, like I said, an arranged marriage of sorts, it still has to be with two like-minded people who are compatible and well suited to the match, to the marriage. And just because every other Prince of Wales in all time had a mistress, that doesn't mean that was what Diana was supposed to accept. My hair looks greasy because I put all that grease in it. And now I'm like running late, running to get home before my kids get home, and I haven't even packed them. But then they'll be off for the night, and I'll have all night until tomorrow night. And it's Friday, so I can work on this. It's extremely loud right now with all the traffic
So my thoughts on Camilla and Charles. Well, first of all, I want to say my sons fucking roasted him like a burnt zucchini. They saw pictures of him as a younger guy, and I almost forgot about how motherfucking goofy he was, because he certainly has, I feel like his goofiness has faded a lot as he's aged. But holy shit, hot damn, he was a goofy ass motherfucker. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Him and Camilla, they look so perfectly suited for each other. When you look at somebody in the face and they look at you, you want to feel well suited. You want there to be a connection. Not just because it's supposed to be, because it really is. Hi. So you've got a teenager in a fantasy infatuation with a prince, and you got the prince's mom, the queen, in an infatuation with a teenager, thinking this is going to be the right person. Fuck the woman my son's in love with. Fuck the woman that he picked, that he chose. That's so obviously a naturally good match. She's not good enough. She doesn't pass our test. And she doesn't match up to our standards. So, get rid of her. Huh. She said, fuck that, ain't getting rid of me. So to my point about Diana was the other woman. Diana was the mistress. Not technically, not by law, but in the heart. In the hearts and minds and the bodies and souls and spirits of the two people who were involved in the actual relationship, Camilla and Charles. They chose each other. They were like linked up, synced up, yep. And so, of course, Diana was the other woman. Diana came second. Diana was a forced relationship by Prince Charles' mom, Queen Elizabeth, and Diana's grandma, Baroness Fermoy. They both wanted the match, and so they created it. They forced it. They pushed away Charles's true love, Camilla, and they replaced her with a teenager because she was the right one, the right aristocratic one. Transplant. Diana was picked by his parents, or his mom, or the farm. Diana was an arranged marriage, someone who was the perfect aristocracy. She had the perfect bloodline. She's more royal than the royals. She's more British than the British. And on and on and on. She grew up in Sandringham. The grandma Fermoy, who was good friends with the Queen, wanted Charles to marry one of the Spencer girls.
Elizabeth Sarah Lavinia Spencer. According to Wikipedia, Elizabeth Sarah Lavinia Spencer was born with the honorific, the Honorable. She acquired the courtesy title, Lady, in 1975, when her grandfather died and her father became the 8th Earl Spencer. Lady Sarah McCorquodale was born on March 19, 1955.
So 6 years older than her younger sister, Princess Diana, 7 years younger than Prince Charles.
So the older sister, Sarah, was more in line with his age. My hair keeps doing this. But she flat out said, I didn't love him. I don't love him. I won't marry. I don't care if you're the fucking king of England. I don't care if you're the king of England. I won't marry you if I'm not loving you. Take my sis. She's naive. I bet she regrets that. I know she does. But it really wasn't up to her, though, was it? And yeah, I get it. You don't like a cheater. Nobody likes a cheater, but don't you think this is like a different situation? They were forced apart. They were forced to marry people they didn't love. And nothing could get in the way. The whole world did not get in the way. And they got in the way because it took them forever, but they fucking stuck together. Oh my God, I got home and I got like 5 minutes till the kids will be here, and then I'll have the rest of the night to do the video and whatever else I want. So can you imagine? That's what I'm saying. Okay, you can say, oh, he was supposed to live the life he was that was chosen for him. Oh, well, they told him you can't have her no more. You already had her. You done fucked her up. You done fucked her, and you done ruined her. That is the most disgusting thought process. That's just, it's vile. It's genuinely, it's just despicable to say that the man, to say that because he had her, she's not marriageable anymore. She's no longer marriable because he fucked her. But he's still marriable. Every room of my house is getting more and more festive lights. Now I have to pack these kids up for their overnight. And I'm still thinking about this. All right, I got to do this pack up. All right, I got to pack them up and I'll be back. I'm so hot from walking so much, so fast. Okay. Well, I'm not trying to make this video insanely long, but I think it's already past that point. So...
Diana on meeting Charles before they married.
According to People, we met 13 times and we got married.
When did Charles meet Diana?
November 1977. According to Vogue, November 1977, Prince Charles meets Lady Diana for the first time at Althorpe House, her 1,500-acre family estate in Northamptonshire, England. At the time, he was dating her older sister Sarah and had traveled up to join her for a shooting weekend.
Again, all of us who love Princess Diana need to have a much more critical look at this situation. This video is an attempt to separate the fantasy, the fiction, the obsession, the perfection of the saintliness of Princess Diana, which I do believe was true and real for the most part. However, she was a very unhappy, extremely young woman caught up in something that she didn't really understand. True, she was of that world, from that world. She was aristocratic through and through for centuries. But I don't believe she knew how powerful or evil, maybe, that family was. And I don't think that she realized that she really could never be free. She really was never free, was she? And although they chose her because she was so perfect, when she was no longer perfect, then she was no longer perfect, and it was time to get rid of her. She went from being the best thing to the worst thing. And that's what those type of environments are like. They love you until they hate you. You're everything until they kill you. They want you dead, you're dead. Allegedly, for entertainment, gossip purposes. I do think it's unbelievable and incredible that these two people stayed together despite their families and the world and time trying to keep them apart. And I am still amazed that through all of this, Camilla and Charles have managed to stay together, stay a couple, and they're doing the damn thing. And again, whatever evil crimes that they've committed, that I believe allegedly, maybe, speculation only, rumors, entertainment purposes may have done. I'm not forgiving that. I'm not forgetting that. I'm just momentarily talking about a romantic relationship between two people. Against all odds, against all right and wrong, against all good and bad, against all everything. And maybe it is wrong. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right, you know? Camilla? His family did everything they could to stop them from being together. Shipped Charles off to the military, shipped Camilla off to marry Andrew, shipped Charles off to marry Diana. When did Prince Charles marry Lady Diana Spencer?
According to Wikipedia, the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer took place on Wednesday, the 29th of July, 1981, at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, United Kingdom.
So whether you're American, British, or anything, romanticizing the wedding, there were 700 million viewers of their wedding, and people still argue that it was wrong for him to cheat, it was wrong for Camilla to cheat, that they should have never been allowed to marry, which was the problem from the first place, saying that Camilla and Charles should not be allowed to marry. Look at how miserable they were. Charles and Diana were very ill-suited. They were over a decade apart. They had nothing in common. Charles was in love with someone else before he even met Diana. And not only did his whole family already know that, and her family know that, they actively did everything they could to stop that other relationship. They pushed Charles into the military. They pushed Camilla into a marriage with Andrew Parker Bowles. They created a fantasy, a romantic fairy tale that they sold to the whole world. And the world gobbled it up. But all of the people involved, they were actually really unhappy. And my video is my American perspective. Somebody said to me in a comment, "Don't you feel foolish now?" They were talking about Kate and the announcement that Kate made sitting by herself that she has cancer. And like I said earlier in this video, if that is the truth, I feel horrible for her. Hopefully she will heal. And if it's a lie, I feel horrible for her, and hopefully she'll heal. Maybe it's a combination of truth versus lies. I don't know. But I do know that this family, this firm, this industry, this government, it is corrupt. And although I can have empathy and sympathy for the couple, for these two people who were kept apart and against all odds have stayed together, that doesn't mean I'm pro-monarchy or that I'm condoning anything. This video is specifically talking about on Camilla and Charles and their relationship, and that's what I'm talking about. And whether or not it's okay, in my opinion, to hate on them, to hate on Camilla, to say that they shouldn't be together. Look at how happy they finally are. They finally get to be together. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And of course, rest in peace to the beautiful and always Princess Diana. And condolences to Prince Charles and Prince Harry And Prince William.
for the tragedy that they lived through, that they still live through. And the world lost a princess. They lost a mom. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that is how things went. But I wanted to make this video because it interests me.
And isn't it eerie that this photo is remarkably similar to this infamous Photoshop fail Mother's Day with Kate and the kids. And look, he's got his arms around her just like that. Isn't that weird? As you can see, I did a lot of my research right here in this video because I don't have a huge amount of background knowledge on the family. And I was interested enough to do the research. So if you already knew all of this, you probably won't watch the video. If you didn't know any of it, then hopefully you found this interesting, entertaining, thought-provoking, as well as a tribute to all of the people involved. And again, when I mention possible alleged crimes, I don't really know if any of them did anything. Maybe it was all tragedy and also true love all mixed in, a bit like life.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Do you think Mrs. Parker Bowles was a factor in the breakdown of your marriage?
Well, there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
When did Camilla Parker Bowles and Andrew divorce?
According to People, January 11, 1995, Camilla and Andrew Parker Bowles divorce. The pair said in a statement that they lived apart for 2 years before deciding to split permanently, adding, "There is little of common interest between us."
Princess Diana and Charles divorce.
According to the Today Show, Charles and Diana's divorce was finalized August 28, 1996, just 1 year before the tragic death of the Princess of Wales. Her sons opened up about the way their lives changed in that moment, and their father's role in their lives. Princess Diana died on August 31, 1997.
The world was left in shock and in mourning, and 27 years later, the world still is in shock about this tragedy.
According to People, among the 3,500 who attended the pair's nuptials were many world leaders, including Princess Grace Kelly of Monaco, Nancy Reagan, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, the prince's parents, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip and Princess Anne and Mark Phillips, to name a few. 750 million people. According to Wikipedia, an estimated 750 million people watched the ceremony worldwide, and this figure allegedly rose to 1 billion when the radio audience is added in. Although there are no means of verifying these figures, 28.4 million watched the event on BBC and ITV in the UK.
How many people watched Princess Diana's funeral?
2.5 billion people. According to WCVB-TV, on September 6, an estimated 2.5 billion people around the world watched the funeral on television.
This situation will never, ever not be a tragedy. And the rumors and speculation will probably never end, including this video. When did Prince Charles and Camilla marry?
April 9, 2005. According to Harper's Bazaar, 2005, Charles marries Camilla. Charles announced his engagement to Camilla in February 2005, after having lived with her at Clarence House since 2003. On April 9, 2005, Charles and Camilla tied the knot in a civil ceremony at Windsor Guildhall.
Was Prince Charles allowed to remarry because Princess Diana died?
According to Quora, HRH, Charles, Prince of Wales, and Diana, Princess of Wales, she was not a princess in her own right, were divorced, so there was no reason why Prince Charles couldn't marry Camilla.
Why did Prince Charles wait so long to marry Camilla after Princess Diana's death? Well, unfortunately, his family still gave him a hard time, still believing that Camilla was ill-suited because now not only was she not a virgin, she was also divorced. She was not considered well-suited. She wasn't considered to be good enough. And then there was public hatred against her because she was the other woman. She was the mistress. Technically, yes, Camilla was the mistress, but this whole video is to talk about how they genuinely were in love with each other and they were forced apart, kept apart. And that's what I'm talking about. That's how come Diana was the other woman. So I just wanted to show some photos of them. Look at how young Prince Harry and Prince William are. So Camilla and Charles have been married now for 20 years, 2 decades, and in love with each other since 1970, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020, going on almost 55 years as a couple, and 20 years finally legitimized by the church. And you know, there's still some people who can't stand her, who say Princess Diana will always be the queen, but I think it's only right that he get to call her queen, because she is his queen after all these years, and that's my opinion.
I don't know. I'm not okay with cheating. I'm not condoning cheating. But that's what I'm saying. Are they really cheating? Yes, they're cheating in the sense that are they really cheating? Yes, they're really cheating. They're really cheating in the sense that they're supposed to be with other people. They're supposed to be faithful to other people. Supposedly, Prince Charles had said, which is allegedly, I don't know if it's true, I'm not going to be the only, I refuse to be the only Prince of Wales who didn't have a mistress. And, you know, supposedly he had a lot of other mistresses besides Camilla. And, you know, let's say if he had been with Camilla, does that mean he would have been faithful to her? Probably not, but maybe. I don't know. Who can judge? It's like, you don't know what you would have done if everything was different. You know, if he was with somebody that he truly loved and admired and wanted to be with and was well suited to be with, maybe that would be all he needed. I don't know, maybe not. Right, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this section. But just imagine being so in love with someone and nobody wants you to be together. People want you to fail. People just don't want to see you happy. And years and years and years go by and you are still in love with this same person. You're clinging to each other regardless of all the naysayers. They've been through forced marriages. They've been through forced families. I'm looking for clothes. They've been through
Tragedy, death,
divorces. They've been through public humiliation. They've been through public condemnation. They've been through personal condemnation with their families, condemning them from day one, saying you cannot love each other. Bad vibes, not good vibes, bad vibes. And what's sad to me is the world jumping on board in agreement. Like, yep, we support your hatred of this couple. This couple who met naturally. This couple who are obviously compatible, well-suited matches for each other. Yet, the world supported hating on them. That is sad. That's pathetic to me. I think that that's really sad. And that's why I say Diana was the mistress. Diana was the other woman. Diana was the one that didn't really belong. Yeah, we all love her. She's the people's princess. We adore Diana. Diana is everything, was everything that Queen Elizabeth thought she would be. Now my hair looks greasy as a motherfucker. My kids are coming home in a second to get their bags packed up.
My current goal, my current mission in this campaign is to find the infina
I'm
instrument.
recording right now.
Yeah, the infina instrument, or the backpack that has like a cabinet with every single instrument inside.
Yeah?
Yep.
Here, I'm going to give you one to give Dad, or you two to give Dad. Okay, and then he can have,
I'm gonna grab some water.
all right, one son is outside getting in the car with his dad, and the other son is going to the bathroom, getting some candy, cake. I'll get back to the video in a second. Let me go. Can't see us. I love you. Have a good weekend.
We didn't
I put your candy in here. I zipped it up so you can grab it and go. I love you. Have a great time. See you tomorrow. Mwah. Chow mein, baby. Chow mein, beta. You got it? Close that behind you, okay? Auf Wiedersehen. Mein Schatz. All right. And now I am back. Just a little cute shot of my keyboard because I love it so much. So, my thoughts about Diana. Well, I loved her. I adored her. I thought she was just such the sweetest, most beautiful princess. She seemed to have a heart of gold, and she was very well suited for the role. However, she was miserable, she was abused, she was neglected, she was ignored. She wasn't given the love that she deserved. And although the world admired her, her own mother-in-law and husband and all the rest of the firm really did not help her by forcing her into that situation, knowing that Charles was in love with somebody else. So, of course, people are going to be angry for me to say she was the mistress, but what I'm talking about is not by law, not on paper, not by what the royal family said it was supposed to be, but in the hearts of the two people, Charles and Camilla, already committed, already locked in. And it's tragic. I also do believe, like I said in other videos, I absolutely believe that the whole royal family had everything to do with the elimination of Diana. And I do believe that Charles, wanting to make sure that there was nothing left to keep him apart from Camilla, that and wanting full control of the kids and wanting to be able to shift the narrative and not wanting Diana to possibly get that role in the government that Tony Blair was supposedly offering her or preparing to offer her, and the fact that the whole globe loved Diana and considered her the victim of Charles, which in a sense she was, except for the fact that he was forced into that position. So she was actually a victim of Queen Elizabeth and whoever else, her grandma, Fermoy, whoever else had their hand in the forcing of the marriage between Charles and Diana. They are the ones who screwed Diana over and who screwed Charles over. Okay? So that's my opinion. And as I've said in other videos, I am not just 1 in a million. I'm a 1 in a billion. I am an unusual person. I do have a unique perspective and point of view. And sometimes people will appreciate that and think, that's such an insightful thing to think. I hadn't thought of it that way. And other times people will say, what a bad take. learn to think. Or, how dare you? First of all, how dare? So, yes, I love Diana. I remember the night that it happened. I remember being in shock, glued to the television, just like watching as the news said she was injured and then finally acknowledging that she passed. And if you look into the suspicious nature of that, I think there's a lot of things to question. And how did all of those, was it 17 cameras in that little tunnel that suddenly didn't work, similar to all the cameras in Epstein's cell? Suddenly not working, but then supposedly there was somebody who got a ticket mailed to them 2 hours after, meaning someone drove through that tunnel, a camera got a shot of their license plate, and they received a ticket in the mail from 2 hours after. This is, again, allegedly. I watched a bunch of various videos about the mystery behind Diana's demise and all what happened that night. And what seems like a lie that the driver was drunk, because on video he appeared completely sober, and so many very shady, questionable, suspicious things, including the fact that the ambulance took over 2 hours to get her to the hospital, stopping 2 times along the way, and including a stop right in view of the hospital, which is extremely, highly suspicious in my opinion. Do I believe that Charles, maybe even Camilla, had something to do with it? I think it's very highly likely. Okay, so again, I'm not singing their praises. It might sound like that, but what I'm saying is they were locked in love.
Locked and loaded.
With each other. They should have been allowed to be together. And it's sad to me that they didn't get to have kids together, and they didn't get to spend their whole lives together, that they were put in a position where the powers that be treated them like puppets who had no free will of their own. And people want to despise them for having loved each other and clung to each other and hung in there. And hey, maybe they really are evil, awful people. Like Prince Harry said in Spare, that he just wanted Pa to be happy, and he wanted Camilla to be happy, and he thought maybe Camilla would be less dangerous if she was happy, but I don't think that that's the case. However, again, I am not here to plead for people to be pro Camilla or to ship Chuck and Cammy. Okay, I'm just saying, like, they obviously are a thing, always been a thing, before, during, after, still, forever. They belong together. They're well suited. They are a match. And those are my thoughts. See you in the next one.